Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Rawhide Roundup. I'm your host, Heather Dallas, and today I am visited with a very special guest, very similar to my dad, but a different story. His name is John as well, and he's a rancher, business owner, and he's an inventor. He also happens to be one of our dealers. Please welcome John Horter.
Hi there, everybody. Nice to be here today.
Yes, thanks for joining us, John. I will say you were the first dealer to get back with me about doing this, so I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my pet peeves as a business owner is that I always reply to my emails ASAP. So yeah, it was just a natural fit to reply, and I'm glad this worked out to kind of talk about rawhide and farming and everything else that our viewers are interested in. So I'm looking forward to just having a good conversation today.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I think you have a great story. I've been working with Rawhide about a year and a half now, and I would say you guys are kind of on a similar timeline. How long have you been a dealer for us?
Oh, I think we officially started about September of 2024. So yeah, basically the same timeline that
That's what I thought. I think I just missed you guys when you came to Abilene. I had just started right after that, so I didn't get to meet you at Abilene. I met you at Dakota Fest, but not when you were
right,
down.
right.
Sure. Good. Well, we are so happy to have you. I think you have a great story. I love kind of when I first heard about you becoming a dealer and reading about you. You have a huge background in ag. So go ahead and give us a background on, your family, how you got started in the agricultural industry.
Yeah, so I'm actually a fifth generation on my farm. I live 2 miles away from where my family homesteaded. We still rent the land that my family homesteaded. I farm actively with my parents yet. They're kind of trying to retire. Have wife Jacqueline and two kids, Dane and Reagan. They are 14 and 10, and they show a lot of interest in the farm as well. We raise corn and soybeans. We also have a cow calf operation. I raise replacement heifers, and we do a small feedlot. So we're pretty diversified in the farming aspect. And then on top of that, we're not busy enough, so we have a farm and ranch supply store. So lots of irons in the fire.
That's great. And so you said you're actually in the middle of calving right now.
Yeah, we just kind of are getting started. We've got, probably 10, 12 on the ground. It's kind of cold and windy today, but yeah, it's going well. It's pretty dry conditions, and things are going pretty well so far. We've done a little bit of planting. We planted some oats in the last few days, and we'll probably get going on some corn next week here. So it's gonna get really busy here very soon.
Oh, that's great. I love that you are actually living it. And I think that's part of when we tell our story is, mom and dad still run a ranch. They still have a cow calf operation. So you're not just promoting our products, you're actually using them too.
Yeah, that's what I really enjoy about selling products is that I only sell products that I use, and it's been a great relationship with the Rawhide family because we use this stuff, and I'm like, hey, why don't we do this, or could we do something better? And it's all the feedback, and we get that from the customers, and I think it's a great relationship. You're not just a dealer that just sells the stuff and reads everything on paper. You're out there using it. You know what works, what doesn't, and I think it's a great way to sell stuff that you have that experience and people trust that. So I think that's a big advantage we have in our business.
Sure. Yeah. And, we love the fact that when we went for a long time without having dealers across the country, and dad and, and mom, they like dealing with people, face to face. They come to pick up their Corral. We can teach them about it. And so we love that we have dealers like you guys that truly familiarize yourself with it, and you're using it. And so we know when they go to pick up from you, they are getting the full rundown, and they're getting everything they need to be successful with that Corral. So we appreciate that.
We have the advantage too that we're using one quite often, so we generally have one set up on our property somewhere. So if someone wants to see the difference between a classic or a processor or what the options are, they can come right to our farm, and it's one's usually set up, and we can take it right to them. They can put their hands on it, and when we sell a product, that's we pride ourselves in that we deliver everyone personally. We show the people how to use it. We plan on spending a half a day with the individual, to make sure they're comfortable with it, and we don't leave until they're happy. So, it's that hands-on experience, and that I think that sets us apart. That we take the time with the customer to show them how it works and make sure they feel comfortable. We don't just drop it off in their yard and they're like, "What the heck is this?" Or we want to make sure they know how to fold it and how to operate it, and it's just really important to us to take care of our customers.
Sure. That's great. Well, while we're talking about you guys as a dealership, so tell me a little bit about Bristol, South Dakota. I I always want to think it's beautiful Bristol. I've never personally been there, but I assume it's beautiful. But so if I'm a potential customer and I'm getting ready to come pick up a Corral, what's a place you recommend people go out to eat if they're there?
So Bristol's a very small town. Our town is about between 300 and 400 people. They say that on the sign, but I find that hard to believe. But anyways, we have this little truck stop right on the highway that's called the Hot Spot. And you go there and you need to prepare yourself to be hungry, because if you get a steak or anything, it is like bigger than the plate. You get a huge basket of fries or potatoes. It's just great home cooking. There's lots of little places like that around, but definitely the Hot Spot is very well known. You come there on a Friday or Saturday night and you can't hardly find a place to sit. They have the best steaks. Burgers are huge. They're great. All the food is really awesome. So you gotta stop at the Hot Spot if you come visit us in Bristol.
Sure. Now, does Bristol have hotels?
We don't, but nearby, 15, 20 miles away, there's a couple towns that have numerous hotels. We're right in the middle of like big hunting and fishing areas, so there's a lot of lodges, bed and breakfast type things. We're right on the edge. We call it the Coteau Hills. We're right on the edge of, we call it the valley and the hills. We're right on the edge, so we have a lot of wetlands and water, like just natural lakes and whatever. So the fishing is amazing, the hunting is amazing. So it's a really cool place to visit, and for the sportsmen, and yeah, lots of really nice scenery to see too as well.
Yeah, sounds like we need to pull our camper up there.
You should, yes, lots of
I think
places.
so. We've got some connections up there.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit to you as an inventor. So you have that in common with Dad. Tell us about the rock block and how you came up with that and what it is.
Sure. So being that we live in this perfect place with all of the fishing and wildlife, we're also blessed with rocks. So when we go to cut hay, disc type cutters are very popular now. And the issue we have is when gophers, badgers, whatnot, they dig mounds in the fields, and we have all these marble and pea-sized rocks. Well, when we hit them with our hay cutters, it's like a bomb goes off, and lots of issues with breaking windows on tractors with these pull-type cutters. Um, you know, 12 years ago, I wanted to make the switch from a sickle to a disc machine, but it really scared me. There was people like hanging protection, iron protectors on their tractors, plexiglass. I didn't want to deal with that, so I guess I just made my own secondary curtain to go out in front of the machine, and I just built it for myself for my own use to try to make my farming operations safer and better. And you know, luckily it worked. It was just a fluke deal. I just started taking some scrap iron and bolting it onto my cutter, and I just found an old piece of belting, and we just made it work. And a lot of other people said, well, that's really cool. You don't have to look through metal or plexiglass on your tractor. And there was nothing like this out there, and I guess we just took a chance, and we patented the product, and we have patents in the United States and Europe. And yeah, we're about in I think our 7th year of sales now. We've sold over 3,000 kits across the United States and Canada, and our business is growing. And we make 17 different kits now to fit a lot of different models. We make universal ones, so it's kind of the same thing as Rawhide. I mean, we're just a family operation. We built something to help ourselves, and we saw the need to help other people, and we take advice and whatever from our customers, and we just try to make the best product possible.
That's great. I mean, you're very right. It's so similar, you telling that story, to what Dad just talked about last week in the podcast of it was for himself and then realized you could do it for others.
Right.
And I think it's important. It's a safety issue, and I think it's a great thing for people to have. So I was glad to be able to kind of showcase that today when talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, we get to talk to people from all over the country. I've heard people that they're scared to cut hay. Some people don't even have a cab on their tractor, so they wear a helmet, a football helmet, and like leather coats in the summertime. And I'm like, how miserable can that be when it's 100 degrees trying to cut hay with a football helmet on?
No, thank
And
you.
as long as it's a Minnesota Vikings football helmet, it's fine. But But no, I've heard all kinds of stories. People getting hit in the head, breaking windows all the time. I mean, you can't satisfy everybody, but 99% of the people that are our customers, they'll call back and say thank you. This is great. It's just a really rewarding experience to come up with something that can help so many other people and keep them safe and keep them going, and not cost them extra money on their farm.
Sure. And when you guys go to shows and stuff, do you take one with you or for people to see it, or they can go to your
Yeah, we
website and look at it?
Yeah, we have samples that we bring with. So we have a piece of the material with in our different bracketry. We have videos playing at our farm shows. But yeah, we've spent a lot of time and effort on our website. It's very interactive. So yeah, we've got a lot of good information on our website, and we're happy to talk to anybody anytime. I mean, I put my own personal number in our installation instructions. That most people are like, you're crazy, but if somebody has a problem, they can call me on a Saturday night or Sunday. I don't know. I'll try to answer the best I can, but it's very important to me that we take care of our people. So, um,
Sure.
yeah,
We did that initially with dad's cell phone. And then eventually, as they changed, we ended up getting an office number. And he'll get a call randomly. And it's a 20-year-old Corral that somebody's
right,
working on and has a
right,
question. And he's kind
right,
of forgets, oh, yeah, my cell phone was on all the initial stuff.
right,
So
right, exactly.
understandable. Okay. So talking about farm shows, I know we do Dakota Fest up there with you guys. And, why it's been up there. Do you guys do other farm shows? How many do you guys do?
We just do Dakota Fest and a couple others.
Yeah.
We decided to spend our time and effort more on our website. The shows are very expensive. Takes a lot of time. I mean, we love the one-on-one interaction with our customers, but we're a very small business. We just have myself and two other employees. So I mean, we're so busy at the store. It's just hard for us to get away. So we just spend a lot of time on making sure our website is really good information and as personable as we can be, and try to touch as many people that way.
No, I think you have everything on there. I was going through it earlier before the podcast and very informational. So good. Well, let's go back to your background a little bit here. Who do you think I'm assuming maybe a family member, but who was the most influential person to you, you think, growing up and growing into this industry?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be my family. My grandparents, they both farmed on both sides of my family. Of course, my dad. Just watching all those people grow up, and then all their peers. A lot of those people, they're very influential in our community, and they started with nothing, and built their lives on the land, and just watching all those people work very hard, and farming and ranching, as we all know, it's a very tough life. We're basically making our living on hope and a prayer of the weather and the markets, and not everybody can do that. I mean, it takes a special kind of person to be able to do that, and we just adapt and we do what we got to do, and we do businesses on the side, and we try to be diversified and do whatever it takes to make a living.
Sure. No, I think you guys are doing a great job. We appreciate you guys up there, and we look forward to more customers heading your way. And hopefully, we get some new ones here in this, send some rock block customers up there.
Right. Yeah. No. It works both ways. Just you got to get the word out there. Like I say, we've only been at this a year and a half, and I was counting up the other day how many corrals we sold, and I'm like, wow, it's pretty amazing in the year and a half that you've had a touch point with that many people, and done that much business in a short amount of time, and it just the business is growing, and as we all know right now, cattle prices are amazing, but the farm economy it's pretty poor. Interest is high, so anybody you talk to in the ag world today, people aren't spending money. But when they call you and they want to spend money on the products that you have, you know that you've done something right, that cash is short, but they still want to do their business with you. So, you've got to do everything you can to take care of those customers and make sure that you realize that they're putting their trust in you to make their operations better.
Sure. I've talked to a lot of people recently, and yes, these products, it's an expense, but a lot of folks are realizing that when you kind of do the math of, okay, you purchase this portable corral versus put the money into something to several permanent facilities, and
Right.
they're kind of doing the math and deciding, okay, it makes more sense for me to get this now than the other options that I have, that are just band-aids to eventually getting one.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to somebody on the phone and you tell them a corral is going to cost them $30,000 or $40,000. You kind of have to make sure that they didn't fall on the floor. But then you talk it through, and it's like, you're going to have this corral for 20, 30 years. I mean, it's built to last. You spread that investment over that many years. In our business, we sell freestanding panels, we sell continuous fence posts. I mean, you start figuring the cost of making a permanent corral. You're not that far off. Where this, you put it down, a couple people have the thing set up in 10 minutes, and you do your deal, and you pull up and you move away. And there's just a lot of aspects you got to think of when you're making a big investment like that. I mean, I farm as well. I mean, to spend that kind of money, it's a pretty major decision. And you just got to think things out, and just see the long term investment and the safety that's involved, and just the versatility that you have with the Rawhide products. I mean, you can pull into any pasture and set it up any way you need to, and it's just the versatility and the ease of using the product is just, it's so wonderful.
Sure. And one thing we talk about too is your time is money. The time that you're going to spend and that you're going to save by setting up the corral. We hear that a lot. And one comment we get quite a bit is, you kept me ranching longer than I would have been. We keep people in the business longer just because of the ease of doing it. They might have had to sell the cows before then if it wasn't for having something. So we love hearing those stories from people. It's just, the impacts. And so,
Well, the vast majority of producers in my area, they farm as well as ranch. So, like in the fall, really the cattle are in between the harvest season. So, like, we get a rainy day and we'll say, hey, let's go work that pasture of cattle. We have that option. We hook up the corral. 10 minutes later, we're on the road, pull in, 10 minutes, we're set up. We have that option that we can go do that in between other things to save ourselves time, where if we had to go set up, all kinds of panels and whatever, it takes that much more time. And so, you've got those options there that it's just quick and easy, and, it saves yourself a lot of time, and it's safe. I mean, we ran a Wilson corral for 15 years before we were looking for something different. And that's how we, looked into the Rawhide option. Is, a couple neighbors had one, they really liked them, but nobody around here sold them. Went to factory direct, and with our business, we approached John and Mary and said, hey, would you be interested in having some dealers? And that was a good point to do that, because they were looking to do that at the same time. So it was just a
mm-hmm.
natural fit, and it worked really, really well. And we're able to cover more area with more people, and I think we're touching a lot of people, and it's working really well.
Sure. Yeah, I think you guys are doing a great job. Braden, I enjoy, I know Braden, one of your employees, he does a great job. He asks the great questions. I learned, and he probably doesn't realize this, but me starting around the same time you guys, he would text me something, a question, and I'd be like, that's a great question. Let me go find an answer. And so I would get an answer at the same time that Braden was. So we were kind of learning along the same curve. And I always thought, man, he asks really good questions for me to be learning this stuff too. So
Yeah,
I
he's a
appreciate
great
that.
asset. He's a great asset to our business. He's just working on graduating from Votech, and he grew up a few miles from here, but he was not ever an active farmer. His grandparents did. So it's nice to have that perspective. I mean, he's been around agriculture, but he's got a different perspective, and it's great to have him. He's a hard worker. He asks those questions. He takes care of our customers as well. So it's great to have him. And then we've got Ryan at the shop as well. He's a good backup. He can answer the phone and direct people to us. And we've got a great team. And if somebody's got a question, we're not afraid to ask it and find the right answer to make sure that all their questions are answered.
Yeah, that's what it takes. I mean, everybody working towards the same goal, teamwork.
Right.
Well,
Absolutely.
perfect. Well, I tried to think, you're essentially my first guest on the podcast. I hesitate to call dad a guest. It's like I sat down and talked with my dad for a couple hours. It doesn't really seem like that was that much work. But so on this podcast, I thought, what's one thing I can ask people at the end? And I grew up having to watch all the Westerns because my dad watched Westerns. Like we watched the John Waynes. Did you watch Westerns growing up?
Honestly, not a lot.
I wondered.
I hate to say this, but I mean, we didn't have a lot of time to watch TV. We were always just working and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I guess we I wouldn't say we never watched TV, but I guess one of the things that always stuck out in my mind for TV shows that I would watch with my dad would always be MacGyver and Walker Texas Rangers. So we got a lot of Chuck Norris memories and whatnot. But those were the shows that we watched when we had time. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Dad was always trying to get us off of anything current. He wanted to go back if we
Go
were going to
back.
watch something, go back and
Right.
watch an old Western. And half the time I bring up some of these movies and nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'm like,
Right.
well, we're that generation, I guess.
Right.
Well, MacGyver, maybe that's why you're coming up with stuff.
Yeah, I hate that we use that reference a lot. We MacGyver things a lot. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of still a term we use a lot today. We do what we
There
got
you
to do
go.
to make things work.
Hey, it's what it takes to be successful.
For
Well,
sure.
I appreciate your eagerness to get on here and to be a guest. It's been great having you here. I hope that, our customers up in your region can hear this, see this, and learn a little bit more about you and, just learn about Rawhide in general. So
Yep.
thank you for joining me. Anything you want to add before we
I'm just
sign off?
very thankful to have the partnership with Rawhide, and we sell a lot of different products at our store, but that's one of our ones that we take a lot of pride in, and one of our forefront products, I guess. And we really enjoy working with the Rawhide family there, you and your parents and your sister, and it's just great. We text each other back. We have group texts, and we always have that conversation going, and it's just been a great partnership, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Sure. Yeah, it's unique. And I kind of said in the first podcast too, we're a big family business and you guys are kind of an extension of that family for our family business. And so I'm happy to let people know that's the kind of relationship we have with our dealers. So
Yeah, I mean, all of our customers are family people, so they've got that connection, and I feel it's a great product, and we're just eager to keep selling and helping people out the best we can.
sure. Well, thank you for coming. And everybody else, tune in next week for the next episode of the Rawhide Roundup.